In this tutorial, we are going to see how to set up a weighted grade system where D2L automatically calculates student grades according to parameters you enter. Having D2L automatically calculate grades has several big advantages. By far, the biggest advantage is that students always know exactly where they stand in your course. Knowing where they stand means there should be no surprises when you assign their final letter grade. Since D2L keeps their grades up to date, you have a quick and easy reference point when you need to advise students. Finally, you can use the tools in D2L, such as widgets, to warn students when they fall behind. In order to use weighted gradings, you may need to do some work to your gradebook in D2L first. 1. Set up your grade items first. You can create them afterwards, but it's so much easier if you create them first. This tutorial will assume that they've all been created. 2. Decide on your weights. D2L handles weights on a 100-point scale, so you can decide on weights as percentages. For this example, my course has the following weights. Exams count 40%. There are 3 exams, and each exam is split into 2 parts, concepts and problems. The 3 concept exams and 3 problem exams will count the same. That is, they will all be weighted equally. The 3 concept exams all count for 100 points. The 3 problem exams all have different point values. These grades are all together in one category. A group project counts 20%. This is the only grade item that is not in a category. Quizzes count 10%. Each quiz has 100 points. Homework counts 20%. Each chapter has a different point value for its homework depending on its difficulty. LearnSmart counts 10%. Each chapter has the same point value. 3. Place all your related grades into categories. While it is not required, it makes the process much easier. As you might guess, I have categories for exams, quizzes, homework, and LearnSmart. The group project grade is not in a category since it stands alone. And 4. All non-graded items should be entered as text grades. For example, for the group project, I used to display the group number as a numeric grade item. However, D2L wanted to include it in the grade calculations. I could have zeroed it out, but it was easier just to make it a text grade item. I use a text grade item for displaying their number of absences as well. Items like this don't need to be numeric, so there's no drawback at all to having them as text grade items. Once you've completed all of this, you're ready to get started. Click on Grades at the top of the screen. Depending on how you have D2L configured, you will either be taken to the Enter Grades or Manage Grade screen. Which one you go to does not matter. Click on the Setup wizard at the top. This gives you a lot of information about how grades are currently configured. Once you're finished looking at it, click on the Start button at the bottom. Now, we begin. In Step 1, you can see that D2L defaults to points. I will switch it to weights, which is what we want. It is also showing some percentage values based on how the grades are currently configured. For right now, you can see that there are some issues that I will need to address. If you add the percentages under weighted, they sum to 300%. That is just D2L being confused. We will resolve this before we are finished. Click on Continue. In Step 2, we must make a decision regarding final grades. I do not occur final averages. If a student has an average of 79.3, I leave it as 79.3. When I apply a curve, I apply it when I enter their letter grade into another system. So, for someone with a 79.3, I would most likely just enter a B into the other system. Therefore, I select Calculate Final Grade. If, on the other hand, you make numeric adjustments to the final average on students, you would select Adjust Final Grade. Here, final averages are not released until you make the adjustment. Of course, this negates the advantages of showing the final average to students throughout the semester. Once you make your selection, click on Continue. In Step 3, you decide on how to handle ungraded items and can tell D2L to keep the final average updated. The selection of how to handle ungraded items is tricky, especially if the final average is visible to students. If you select to treat ungraded items as 0, then every grade item you create that does not have a number in it is treated as a 0. Thus, in the middle of the semester, students will all have a very low average. This is scary to students. If you select this option, you must keep the final grade hidden, or you will be continually dealing with panicked students. On the other hand, if you select to drop ungraded items, which is what I do, you have a completely different problem. The student averages stay current all semester, which helps the students know their standing and helps you advise students. But if a student just skips an assignment, it is not included in their average. So, a student that makes 100 on the first quiz and skips the next 5 quizzes would keep a 100 quiz average. As a result, after each graded assignment closes, you must manually enter a 0 for each skipped assignment. It takes a few minutes, but I think it is worth the benefit of keeping the final grades meaningful. Note the green band. That is D2L telling me that I changed the auto update setting. Once you have made your selections, click on Continue. In Step 4, you have to choose between percentage organization and letter grade organization. My school uses a different system to assign final grades, so I always select percentages. Once you've made your selection, click on Continue. In Step 5, you select how many decimal points to display. I just leave it at its default value of 2. Once you've made your selection, click on Continue. In Step 6, you select what the students see. I let them see their point grade, weighted grade, and grade scheme symbol. Once you've made your selection, click on Continue. Step 7 just summarizes your selections. Click on Finish when you are ready. Up until now, nothing actually changed. Clicking on Finish is what applies all the selections you made. D2L takes you to a grade option menu you do not normally see. Each of its links is clickable. Since I created the grade items first, I will go to the Manage Grades page. Here, you see all the error messages in the Manage Grade page. As you can see, the group project and chapter exams have a weight of 10% each, and the Learn Smart has a weight of 0. You cannot see it, but if I were to scroll down, you would see that quizzes have a weight of 0 and the homework has a weight of 10%. I am not sure how D2L comes up with these incorrect weights, but they are easy to fix. Clicking on the group project grade brings up its Properties dialog box. The maximum points of 100 is correct and was set when I created the grade item. It's the weight that is wrong. All I have to do is change it to 20 and click on Save and Close. Back at the Manage Grade screen, I will click on the Chapter Exam category item to resolve all the issues with the exam. On this screen, I need to make 2 changes. The first is to increase the weight to 40%. That's easy. I just changed a 10 to a 40. I also want to make each exam count the same, regardless of the points. So, I click on Distribute Weight Evenly across all items. Once I do that, I click on Save and Close. Back at the Manage Grade screen, you can see that the chapter exams now count 40% of the grade, and each exam counts 16.7% of the 40%. While not shown, Learn Smart and quizzes are corrected exactly the same way. That just leaves the homework. I click on the category item. The first thing I need to do is change the weight from 10 to 20. I do that exactly as before. Next, since I want the homework to count more when it has more points, I click on Distribute Weight by Points across all items in the category. Once I do that, I click on Save and Close. That completes the conversion to automatic weighted grades. If you found this tutorial useful, I have 2 MOOCs on Udemy.com that may interest you. The first is called Creating Exciting Videos Using PowerPoint Slides. It will show you how to take your classroom PowerPoint slides and turn them into videos with narration that you can use for your online courses. If you teach operations management or a related course, then your students will definitely be interested in my Working Operations Management Problems course. It has over 8 hours of tutorials giving step-by-step instructions on how to work every type of problem that is typically covered in operations management.